there, squinty bitches, beautiful butterflies. Do you have lines on your forehead? Well, same. There are many different types of wrinkles and fine lines and things that show up on our face, but there's reasons that they happen and things that you can and can't do at home. And today we are specifically, ouch, hitting ourselves in the eyeball. We're specifically talking about the 11 lines that usually appear on the forehead, right in between your eyebrows. So many people have concerns about these, and I actually kind of love my 11 lines. For those who don't know, I was born on 11/11 at 11/11, and so it's kind of my number. I understand that for some people they're aesthetically unpleasing, but for me, I have so much fun with these bad boys. But I know that even when I poke fun at my own or try to have a good time with them, they can still sometimes bother me. And as I get older, I notice they start to show up a little bit more. Now, there are some people that are really disturbed by these 11 lines. They don't like them, and they are putting all of these creams and slapping stuff on their face that doesn't necessarily have the ingredients that are actually going to help. So today we're going to break that down. I'm going to share some of the things that you can actually do at home for these 11 lines and what does and doesn't work. There are certain things that do and don't work for these 11 lines, and in order to understand what's actually possible at home versus what you need to go into a clinic for, we have to talk about why these happen. These 11 lines are actually part of the glabellar complex. We have these muscles that control our eyebrows and our frontalis muscles that control our forehead, and when we squint, specifically if we're in the sun, if we're thinking really hard, or if we're very expressive people with our facial muscles, as you can see, these start to show up. Now, wrinkles happen over time, and there are things that degrade our collagen and elastin. Collagen is our skin's strong stuff, and elastin is our skin's stretchy stuff. But over time, that collagen and elastin can break down. It really kind of starts in your 20s, and especially if you are exposed to a ton of sun, a bunch of UV damage, or other things like pollutants that can damage the skin, or dehydration, you can bet that those wrinkles develop faster. Now, what causes a wrinkle? I want you to think of your skin like a piece of paper. That paper is flat, right? That's kind of how our skin is when it's full of plump collagen and elastin. Now, what happens if you fold over that paper? You just open and close it a bunch of times. If you fold it, it's gonna have a crease in it, right? Well, open that paper back up, and you can try all you want to smooth that paper out. You can literally go at it all day, but it's always going to have a little bit of a line left behind. That's essentially what a wrinkle is. When we're smiling, when we're squinting, when we're looking shocked in a YouTube video thumbnail, doing that movement over and over and over with the muscles in our face is going to change the skin that sits on top of those muscles. And after a while, when that skin is basically folding like a paper in the same place over and over and over and over again, you bet that we're going to get some wrinkles. Now, this is why some people go in for things like Botox. Botox is what's called a neuromodulator, and there are other ones out there too. There's things like Dysport and Xeomin. But basically, these are toxins. They're literally toxic. Botulinum toxin is one of the deadliest substances on earth. But when used appropriately and administered by a medical professional, Botox literally paralyzes the muscles, specifically in the glabellar complex, that makes it impossible to furrow or to frown. So Botox doesn't get rid of wrinkles that are already there, but it prevents you from being able to move and animate your facial muscles, so you can't develop those wrinkles as quickly over time. Now, this gets us into setting expectations. There are products that we can use at home that can help, but these are not comparable to Botox. These are not comparable to neuromodulators. These are not comparable to injectables like fillers that can actually be used to fill fine lines, wrinkles, or even acne scars, fun fact. There are also other treatments like lasers or medical microneedling with radiofrequency. These over-the-counter products are not going to give you anywhere near that result. And I want to make that super clear, because a lot of brands are going to sit here and try to sell you like before and afters of like the amazing transformation of the skin, when it's all Photoshop, or the people in the before and afters we're actually seeing dermatologists and doctors getting these procedures done. So it is important to set those expectations. Now, if you want to go get tweakments, you absolutely can. Tweakments are an awesome option, but they're not right for everyone. And I was specifically talking with a few people that I work with who were mentioning they know someone who has these 11 lines that really, really bother her, and her makeup gets stuck in them, and then it gets even more accentuated, but she doesn't want to go in for Botox. She doesn't want to do filler. She wants to use something over the counter. And I said, number one, sunscreen to prevent them from getting any worse. But what are some of the things that she or you or anyone else can do to help work on those 11 lines at home topically? Now, again, this is not compared to in-office treatments, but these are options that can help. And we got some expensive ones and some non-expensive ones. And we're going to talk about how they work and what the f you can do, which also includes a little mermaid option, because I love living under the sea. But first, let's start off with a budget option that is sneakingly familiar to actual Botox or actual neuromodulators. This is The Ordinary's Argireline solution. And Argireline comes in a bunch of different products. Kate Middleton actually is obsessed with one, and it's called Botox in a bottle. And while it kind of is, because Argireline is basically a fragment of botulinum toxin, it is not the same thing. And putting something on the skin is not the same as injecting something into it. So just keep that in mind. That being said, The Ordinary has one of my favorite Argireline solutions. This actually works relatively well well. A lot of people have had good results with it online, and even I've noticed that it hydrates my skin at the very least, and maybe it is helping to temporarily slightly paralyze my glabellar complex muscles if I use it routinely. Now, of course, results are going to vary for everyone, and although Argireline is loved by many, some people say it doesn't work for them. And while that is subjective, the way that I look at it is if it's something that looks promising and has science behind it, but isn't medically proven with double-blind, placebo-controlled, peer-reviewed studies, I'm not gonna spend more than like 20 bucks on it. And that's why I love The Ordinary, because this is inexpensive. This isn't something that's going to break the bank, and if you don't use it, it was 10, maybe 12 bucks. Again, this goes on the skin, and it is hypothesized to work similarly to a neuromodulator, essentially going on the skin and helping to temporarily paralyze the muscles. Now, there's also hydrators in this formula that can help plump up the skin. If you do have fine lines and wrinkles, even putting on something like hyaluronic acid and ceramides or peptides can actually help to plump those outer layers of the skin. So that may be how this is working too. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to go for tweakments, I think this is a decent option for the price. Now, there are other peptides out there that have been said to really help with fine lines and wrinkles. I don't know specifically about the glabellar complex, but there are things like copper peptides or even matrixyl that are fantastic. And because there's promising research behind these, but there's not anything that is set in stone, like really definitively effective, I say take it with a grain of salt. And again, if you're really bothered by these, you might want to go for Botox, the actual neuromodulator, the actual botulinum toxin, rather than just a little fragment of it. Another thing that people don't speak about very often when it comes to wrinkles is oil-soluble vitamin C. You see, vitamin C is fantastic. We know it's an antioxidant and it's a brightener, but it's actually necessary in order for our bodies to create collagen, which is, yes, the most abundant protein in our entire bodies. Now, that being said, when you put vitamin C on the skin, vitamin C is water soluble, right? And our skin is basically oily. So how are we going to get a water soluble product in through the skin and through that oil barrier if the skin is literally a barrier that says we're keeping stuff out, we don't want it in? It is a challenge, and that's why vitamin C's can be helpful for like topical pigmentation and antioxidant support. It's actually really hard to get them deep into the skin unless they are oil soluble. Oil soluble vitamin C's are fantastic, and the reason why is because they literally work with your skin's, whoa, that went everywhere. They literally work with your skin's biology to penetrate into the skin and actually get where they need to go inside of your skin cells. The nucleus is that center of the cell, but the vitamin C needs to be oil soluble in order to get in there. And there have actually been medical studies both on this, as well as medical studies showing that oil soluble vitamin C is extremely helpful for not only photoaging and pigmentation, but also for wrinkles, for wrinkle plumping. There was literally a double-blind, half-faced study done, basically where they only put this vitamin C solution on half of someone's face, and it was double-blind, meaning that the people who were doing this study and participants putting it on their face didn't know which side of their face was getting the actual vitamin C, and the researchers who were helping them put it on their face and look at the research didn't know which group of people actually got the real vitamin C versus the placebo. They put this on for 12 weeks, and by the end there was a statistically significant result in, yes, things like photo damage and sun pigmentation and skin spots, but also in wrinkles. And literally when they looked in the skin into the dermis, that thick layer, they saw increased collagen production, which is literally the stuff that helps with fine lines and wrinkles and keeps our skin strong, and the elastin, which keeps it stretchy. Vitamin C is fantastic, and again, we know it's used all throughout the body, especially in the skin. And so finding an oil-soluble form of vitamin C can be wonderful for wrinkles, and yes, potentially for these glabellar lines as well. One of my favorite forms of oil-soluble vitamin C is tetrahexadecyl ascorbate. Try saying that 5 times fast. It is fantastic, but it's normally much more expensive, and unfortunately, some of my favorite products that are oil-soluble vitamin C's are more expensive, which f***ing sucks. I'm actually pretty sure that The Ordinary might have a tetrahexadecyl ascorbate. I'll have to check on that. I think that Kim Kardashian's line also has this as well, but the ones that I know and am familiar with are really expensive, and again, you don't have to spend a ton of money to get good skincare. Just find this ingredient. That's why you always want to turn and learn. If you can find tetrahexadecyl ascorbate in a product that is light stable and that has been formulated well, you don't have to spend a ton of money. The ones that I'm familiar with, they cost a pretty penny, but in my opinion, they're absolutely worth it. SkinCeuticals is like $160, $180. This is a better, cruelty-free, oil-soluble version. This is the CCC Feruloic Brightening Complex, and if you haven't heard me talk about this, then baby, you must be new. Welcome to the beautiful butterfly family, but this is absolutely one of my favorites. If you apply too much, it can pill up a little bit, but I love this, and it's from Perricone MD, who's an actual medical doctor who has created this. This is fantastic. I think it's amazing, especially for people who have more mature skin, fine lines, wrinkles, sunspots, etc. But it is a pretty penny. I always recommend getting this on sale. I usually get this on Amazon. Just make sure you're getting it from like a trusted, verified retailer. But I've also heard from some of our beautiful butterflies that this is available at TK Maxx in the UK. So fun fact. Now, if you don't want this for $160, because that's a lot of money, and if you can't find it on sale for $120, which is what I do, or even $75, I found it for $75 once, there is this. This is from Allies of Skin, and this is magnificent. I love this as an oil-soluble vitamin C, but unfortunately, it's $145. And this one's great because it's a 35%. This is potent, it is stable. She's also more oily. This is a little bit more hydrating and nourishing, whereas this one definitely gives you an oily sheen. And I'd recommend this for more dry skin, whereas this is for mature skin. But again, it's still a pretty penny. I think it's worth every cent. But if you're struggling to spend $140 on a serum, get this on sale. It goes on sale like once or twice a year. You can get it at really good retailers for a fraction of the price. Or again, this is why it's so important to turn and learn your ingredients. If you say, I'm looking for tetrahexyl ascorbate, and you can find a good, reputable product that has tetrahexadecyl ascorbate in a less expensive form, you have the main active ingredient that's an oil-soluble form of vitamin C. Use that, see if it helps, take before and after pictures, because the medical studies have shown that that one ingredient can absolutely help. So if you find it in different formulas, as long as it's stabilized and as long as it feels good on your skin, go for it. And yes, because of the way vitamin C works, it can help with sunspots and with pigmentation, so that's like an extra bonus, but it really does help with fine lines and wrinkles as well if it is that oil-soluble version that can get into the skin and into the nucleus of the cell. Now, before we talk about a little gold standard in dermatology, which I'm excited to see if anybody knows. If anybody knows, put your predictions in the comments now. Before we talk about that, we gotta talk about these motherfucking patches that pop up everywhere on the internet and if they're actually worth it or not. I would not spend a ridiculous amount of money on little skincare patches that, you know, are supposed to treat wrinkles on your face. But there is some science to these Sio patches, these frownies, or my personal favorite one, the limited edition Ariel the Little Mermaid sticky patch from Pacifica Beauty. You know what, we're gonna put this on right now. Now, a lot of people think that this is gimmicky, but I've used this and love it. But I want you to think about how these little forehead patches actually work. Remember that Botox works by paralyzing muscles and making it so that you can't move them and therefore they can't wrinkle. Think about what this does. While it's actually on your skin, I can't raise my eyebrows. I can't really frown. I can't make those facial movements that would cause wrinkles. This is literally preventing that from happening. So in a way, all of these little patches, it doesn't really matter what brand you get, whether it's Sio patches or frownies, or my favorite, the reusable Ariel the Little Mermaid ones. While you're wearing these, they can help you prevent making that wrinkling motion with your facial muscles and therefore helping to prevent it. Now, obviously, probably not wearing this 24/7. Usually I just wear these in the evening. I literally put my Sio patches on at night. They also have these for like under eyes and for smile lines. I usually love mine for smile lines and forehead. And again, this is not Botox in a patch. This is not the same as getting neuromodulators injected into your skin that are going to work 24/7 for like a period of 4 to 6 to 8 months. This is literally something that you can put on and it works while it's there. And when you take it off, it's not gonna prevent you from wrinkling anymore. But for someone who doesn't want to go in and get a tweakment, this is a really decent option. Now, there are frownies. Again, I love the Sio patch. This is one that I've tried. Dr. Dre has tried this. I really like this one. They are reusable and they're, you know, really easy to use. I just kind of stick them back on here. After a while, they can get a little grimy, but like you can rinse them underwater. And they do have different sizes, which I really do appreciate. But I like these because they actually stick to my skin. Dude, if you really want to go cheap, you could just get medical tape. Like you could just tape up your face. That'd be totally fine. One of my new favorites, again, this came out recently and it is limited edition, but the Ariel the Little Mermaid from Pacifica, I love this. Not only is it adorable and it comes in a little tin, but this one actually has like a sticky adhesive behind it. It's silicone, it's reusable, it's eco-friendly, but I can reuse this multiple times and it actually sticks to my face and it fits my forehead. Again, I love the Sio ones. I've been using them for a while, but theirs are big. And while my forehead is big, I have a hairline where like at the sides, it kind of comes in. So the Sio patches don't always fit my forehead as well as like the smile patches or the chest patch does. So for me, this reusable one from Pacifica, absolutely fabulous. I absolutely absolutely love this. It makes me feel fantastic. And yes, I've been wearing this to sleep. I've replaced my Sio patch with this, even though I still use the Smile Line ones. And in my opinion, this is a great option because if you're sleeping, let's just say 6 to 8 hours a day, if you're getting that full 8 hours, that's a third of your day. And I don't know about you, but I have some very vivid dreams. They're a little scary at times. I have nightmares. If I'm furrowing my brow or making facial expressions while I sleep, which I do when I dream, which most people do as well, you bet I need my night guard so I don't grind my teeth into nubs. And you bet that I'm gonna have my forehead patch on so that I'm not over exercising my facial muscles more than I have to, especially based on the amount of YouTube thumbnails I create, where I'm like, every other thumbnail. It's like every thumbnail. Be honest with yourself, Cassandra. It's like every thumbnail. We're just gonna leave this on, and then you know we have to talk about retinoids. Now, which type of retinoid you use is totally up to you. If you do want to go prescription, retinoic acid is phenomenal. If you want over the counter, you can do retinol, retinaldehyde, or we fucking love some Adapalene Gel. This is one of my favorite budget options. This is from AcneFree. It's like 10, 15 bucks. And what's great about this is that because this is a 3rd generation retinoid, it's basically safe to use during the day and in the sun. Of course, you still need sunscreen, and sunscreen is the most important part of this because sunscreen actually prevents the wrinkles from happening because it prevents your collagen from breaking down in the first place. But you're a skintellectual, you already know that. But you do need to know that Adapalene Gel doesn't break down in the sun the way that regular retinoids do. So this is a really great option if you want to use this throughout the day. This doesn't exactly work on wrinkles in the same way that something like vitamin C does, and it doesn't work on your muscles the same way that these patches or the Argireline or Botox do. However, this works by literally going into your skin and telling your skin cells, make more of yourselves, bitches. And this actually plumps up the layers of your skin deeper down. So kind of similar to vitamin C, I guess. If you are able to create more collagen and elastin, you're able to create plumper skin in those layers deep down. That's going to help with some fine lines and wrinkles. And while I think that's going to be better for areas like around the eyes or kind of on the face and the cheeks, yes, this can work on the forehead, and if you do use it right in between your eyebrows, it can work. Now, I just take a pea-sized amount and put it all over the face. This is generally best at night, although you can do it during the day. Just make sure that you're always wearing it under a sunscreen. Sunscreen should be your first choice. And you can actually literally put this underneath your patch if you really want it to penetrate, and the patch can actually help to hold and seal it in. Now again, retinoids that you get over the counter are not the same as a prescription strength tretinoin. And again, none of these are the same as like literally getting fillers injected into your skin that are going to plump up an area, or Botox or neuromodulators that are literally injected into the skin to stop your muscles from moving. However, if you're like the lady with the 11 lines that I spoke about earlier, or if you're like the other people out there who just don't want these 11 lines but also don't want to go in and get things injected into their face, you now know the options that do exist at different price points and which ones might work for you, even though they're not going to work the same as in-office treatments. I would like to know if any of these have either worked for you if you've tried them, or if there are any of these that you would be more or less inclined to try first. Again, when it comes to topical skincare, we do need to set expectations, but I like having options that are $10, maybe $20, and comparing those to some that are a little bit more expensive based on people's needs, their budgets, and what they want. And I hope this helps you understand the glabellar complex, how your skin works, and what options are available if you don't want to go in for a tweakment. And babe, if you find that the skincare doesn't work, or if you don't want to do the skincare, tweakments are totally fine. You do you, honey boo boo. Overall, I'm gonna be a motherfucking magical mermaid. I have actually spoken about the Botox and the treatments and the fillers that I have or have not gotten. You think I'm gonna tell you the answer? But you gotta go watch the video. Oh my babies, it's right here. If you would like to click on that next and see what tweakments and procedures I have and haven't had done, I wanna be totally open about that. But remember that it's your body, it's your expression of yourself and of your beauty, and you get to decide how that is. And I hope you're making those decisions based on your intrinsic beliefs of beauty and being authentic to yourself, instead of capitulating to the needs of society and just doing what everyone else wants us to do. So think about that before you ever do a tweakment or pick up a product. And remember to always stay hydrated, both orally and topically. Remember to reapply that sunscreen. Again, none of these products, none of this works if you don't have the sunscreen. And always remember to be beautiful both inside and out. I love you, and I cannot wait to see you in this next video. Love you guys. Bye.